the song Cupid was a huge hit in K-pop in 2023. Between that song and its twin version, the song was played millions of times, and it was considered the viral hit of 2023 in K-pop, which is crazy because the group has now broken up.
Fans were hoping 50/50 would be the next big female group from 4th gen, comparable to Stacy, NewJeans, and IVE, which was a real possibility with the great reception Cupid received in early 2023. To see how much of an impact both Cupid versions had, one just has to look at the numbers. The original Cupid on YouTube had a staggering 154 million views and 44 million views for the twin version. Then we move on to other social media platforms and see just how much the twin version dominated, with TikTok having 2.4 million videos of the twin version, and with over 500 million views total, with TikTok creators using the song for a variety of memes or chill background music. Then we have Cupid's twin version having around 727 million listens on Spotify, with the original also having a lot of listens with 184 million. With staggering numbers like this makes 50/50's breakup a tragic story.
If the group just stayed together and didn't mess things up, the group's song, Cupid, probably would have been nominated for Song of the Year. So what happened? What led to 50/50's implosion and the group's downfall? So I'm just going to give you the very brief version of what went down, and it probably will still be a lot longer than expected. So here it goes. You have two major companies. First, you have ATTRAKT, led by hoon-joon. Then you have The Givers, led by An Sung-il, better known as Xian. Between these two companies, this led to a battle of ego and greed, where ATTRAKT and hoon-joon tells The Giver Xian, hey, manage my girls, manage 50/50 and make them successful. Xian goes, okay. So Xian managed the girls during the era of Cupid, and as you can imagine, the group explodes in popularity, and especially the song does. So Xian starts thinking, why don't I get a piece of the pie myself? What Xian starts doing is he starts telling the girls and their parents, hey, why don't we just branch out from ATTRAKT, the parent company? Meanwhile, Xian also tries to buy the rights to the song. So instead of the parent company, ATTRAKT, owning it, Xian and The Givers will. ATTRAKT does find out about this eventually, and they go, hey, Xian, what are you doing? And Xian now starts showing his true colors and saying, hey, we want out. You're abusing the girls. I have the girls' best interest. We're going to put this out to the public. So The Givers and Xian put this dirty laundry out on social media and out to the public. Public starts knowing about 50/50's implosion and what's going on and thinking, why mess up a good thing? These girls are going to be the next big superstars and are coming from a small label. So to these fans, it's the underdog story of the year. So what ends up happening over the next few months is that ATTRAKT and The Givers start sniping each other. The girls on the side of The Givers start slandering ATTRAKT, and ATTRAKT doesn't have any of that. They stay firm and they say, hey, these are lies. We had the girls' best interests at heart. The CEO had to sell his car and an expensive watch to continue to fund 50/50, while The Givers are saying, no, they're best left in my care. So Dispatch, a media company that's known for reporting gossip, they get into it. And I always say, if you watch this channel, to take Dispatch with a grain of salt, because sometimes they hit some big truth bombs, but other times they mix those truth bombs with a bunch of fabrications, misquotes, or wrong information. But in this case, Dispatch's information was pretty much true, as it lined up with ATTRAKT's side of the story, meaning that Xian, The Givers, and 50/50 had some major holes in their accusations. So 50/50, with support from Xian, makes their formal injunction to try to terminate their contract with ATTRAKT, their parent company. But when it was all said and done, the courts sided with ATTRAKT. And worst of all, the Korean public turned their backs on the girls, and the once promising underdog story of 50/50 and Cupid just went down the drain, and it was replaced with hate and vitriol of the girls. So after that court injunction failed, ATTRAKT sprung into action as they cut ties with Aran, Shio, and Sena, with one member not being mentioned, and that would be Keena. Keena would make her anime comeback arc, as Keena would actually drop her lawsuit against the company and rejoin it as the solo member of 50/50. So that's where we're at right now with 50-50 and the whole ATTRAKT and the givers situation. So this case not only taught me about how a group can go from here all the way to here in a span of months, but it also taught me the psychology between Korean and Western fans as the situation unfolded. So let's talk about the Western fans first. So when this news first dropped and Xion and the Givers, as well as 50-50, were accusing ATTRAKT of all these bad things, nearly all Westerners were siding with the girls and the Givers, saying that ATTRAKT is a scummy company and that they deserved better, and so on.
And to be fair, ATTRAKT isn't entirely clean in this scandal. While the Givers is known to be the villain in all this, ATTRAKT made some major mistakes as well, with one of those mishaps being poor packaging and contents of the 50-50 album sold at US stores, where ATTRAKT and Warner Music Korea tried to get away with selling these poorly pre-packaged albums and thought international fans wouldn't notice. But these fans instantly noted their horrible attempt. One ex-user documented their entire experience in opening one of these albums. From their experience, the album showed nearly all the pages blank for no reason at all. And from their video, you can hear this person's growing frustrations from the angry flipping of the booklet. Or as this person said on Reddit, the booklet is 90% orange and there's blank pages with a dozen black circles with random words 50-50 just thrown in for no reason. Fans that bought this album were ripped off by this lazy content, as K-pop albums are known to have some of the best packaging in the music industry, so there's no excuse for ATTRAKT and Warner Music Korea to have such horrible packaging. Adding on is another major mistake, which is an allegation. ATTRAKT may not have taken the girl's illness and health seriously, where the girl showed medical papers in PDF form showing this. If a claim about possible medical or wellness abuse happens, it has to be taken seriously. So let's take a look at these claims. Sena claimed that she had anorexia and bulimia, weighing at one point 39 kilograms, or about 85 pounds. Aran had to remove a gallbladder and couldn't use the bathroom for 20 days, and Shio had severe anxiety and social phobia, leading to frequent blackouts. These girls claimed that ATTRAKT made the members power through all the illnesses and didn't take their illnesses seriously. Now, if these allegations are proven to be true in the courts, this does look quite bad against ATTRAKT, since up to this point, ATTRAKT was looking quite good and was a total victim compared to the Givers, who had every intention of screwing over the girls. Another claim is that ATTRAKT could have been more transparent with where the revenue was going and how much the girls would get paid from their Cupid royalties. The girls and their parents wanted to know if ATTRAKT's revenue was used to pay off past debts or were going to other companies that hoon-joon owned. While the poor packaging is undoubtedly true, the medical allegations are currently up in the air and could make ATTRAKT look bad, and being more transparent with the revenue flow is another serious allegation. People should wait for the full story to come out and see what the Korean courts decide on.
I find it interesting with most Western K-pop fans thinking when a scandal is first dropped, nearly all of them would just automatically believe the first accusations. Most Western fans have this mentality of, well, the K-pop label's always wrong and it's always the idols that get abused, and if there's a person that's speaking out, they must be right. And yes, I do agree that there's a lot of K-pop labels that do scummy things. I get it. And in many cases, that's true. But there are good companies that do the right thing, or try to at least. We should withhold our judgment until more evidence comes out. And I think that was a trap for most Western K-pop fans when they just automatically jumped on the Givers bandwagon. Going on to the Korean take, most of them also believe that K-pop labels do wrong. However, there's one big caveat. A lot of them will actually investigate and see what's going on. So the Korean fans did do some sleuthing, and they found out they would not provide any receipts or hard evidence. And that was a major red flag to Korean netizens. And to be fair, some of the Western K-pop fans that were more calm and rational started to see the Korean netizen take on this and go, wait a minute, that's true. Where's the hard evidence on all of this? Can these accusations be verified? So as the drama went on, more Western fans slowly started to accept that 50-50 and Xi'an were shooting themselves in the foot. Now let's talk about what led to the girls' downfall in detail. So when Dispatch revealed a text conversation between Keena and her group members and family members, it was a shocking revelation.
This would mark Xi'an's betrayal to both the girls as well as to ATTRAKT. So you might be thinking, why would Xi'an screw up such a good thing and backstab ATTRAKT? As we talked about a bit earlier, it's power, ego, and money, where Xi'an was thinking, since I made 50-50 popular, I deserve more. How it was broken down was the parent company, ATTRAKT, was responsible for providing the money and marketing to the girls, where the Givers and Xi'an were a contracted producing company responsible for the creative control and direction of the girls. As it stood, ATTRAKT would be getting more of the fame since they're the parent company, as well as the revenue. So Xi'an started making moves to take full control of 50-50 and the song Cupid. He wanted to take the group to Warner Music Korea, where they would have a lot more brand power, resources, and money to pour into 50-50, especially compared to a smaller company like ATTRAKT. More importantly, for Xi'an, he would pocket a lot more money. To do this, he needed to convince the girls and their parents to leave ATTRAKT, and he would succeed doing this for the first several months of 2023, pitting the girls and their parents against their company. While it was Xi'an gaslighting both the parents and the girls and planting the seeds into suing ATTRAKT, it did ultimately come down to the girls if they wanted to go through with a lawsuit. The lawsuit did look promising at first, as a good number of fans, especially international ones, supported the girls and thought ATTRAKT was the bad guy. Until that is, the Dispatch expose and Korean courts ruling in favor of ATTRAKT. But that's just only one of Xi'an's many horrible deeds. Xi'an stole Cupid's copyrights from the original writers, 3 Swedish students. As seen here, from the forged signatures, he added personal debt to ATTRAKT, as well as defamed ATTRAKT towards the 50-50 girls, as he would constantly lie about their parent company to the girls, claiming that it was he and not hoon-joon that made Cupid successful by putting his own money into the girls. That Xi'an is responsible for putting 50-50 on Billboard, and also claiming that the ATTRAKT CEO wasn't interested in the girls, but rather just wanting to get his investment back. Claims that were soon proven false by the Dispatch documents, as well as Keena's text messages. And those claims about ATTRAKT doing horrible stuff to the girls? Well, it looks like that was a lie as well, where ATTRAKT played the Uno reverse card and showed video of the Givers doing bad stuff that they accused ATTRAKT of, such as the Givers throwing junk food away, scolding the girls, etc. Now to be fair, the girls probably didn't even know the separation between ATTRAKT and the Givers, as Xi'an would often say he was an employee of ATTRAKT. So the girls probably thought that hoon-joon approved of Xi'an's bad deeds. From this, Xi'an's true character and numerous transgressions would be revealed, and it was him and his company that did those bad things. After all, ATTRAKT was pretty much hands-off managing the girls. Occasionally, the CEO would text them messages of encouragement. Hoon-joon did care for the girls and wanted them to succeed in the end, where Xi'an was only out for himself, making his production company's name of the Givers ironic, given all the horrible deeds, as his label should be renamed The Takers. Believing everything Xi'an said destroyed the once promising careers of 50-50, a group that if you have asked back in March 2023 during Cupid's twin version explosion, many would have believed that the group was destined for greatness.
So with that in turn, ATTRAKT came out a lot stronger from all this. They were the victim in this. And I'm not saying that ATTRAKT was 100% perfect, because they're not. But in this case, they had a person, Xi'an, that totally backstabbed them and just gaslit everyone in turn. And that really sucks, because it took all the momentum from ATTRAKT to having the next powerhouse female group in K-pop. Many of the fans support ATTRAKT, and they got a lot more brand recognition from K-pop fans, as well as fellow idols and people inside the industry. Now, Xi'an, on the other hand, is getting his reputation just dragged through the mud, and deservedly so, because unless there's new evidence that totally turns around anything that Dispatch says and counteracts any of the gaslighting that Xi'an did, this guy's just a douchebag.
The final tipping point for Keena when she decided to go against Xi'an and the Givers happened when she found out that her profit percentage of how much she would make from the song Cupid went from 6.5% to 0.5%. Her profit percentage had been severely reduced behind her back, giving Xion and his company, The Givers, the vast majority of the song's profits. As you can see here from the documents shown by Dispatch, the original signatures of the singers, as well as the aforementioned Swedish students that originally wrote the song, where Xion forged signatures and transferred control of the song from them to Xion. If you're keeping count, Xion not only screwed over ATTRAKT, but his own singer, Keena, as well as the Swedish students. With the horrible PR destroying 50/50's image, Keena had to make a decision whether to salvage what's left of her career, apologize to ATTRAKT and rejoin the company, or continue fighting against her company and supporting the person that now backstabbed her, Xion. She would choose the former. Thus, Keena would put her ego aside and would spill the details of private text messages to Dispatch, and that ATTRAKT and their CEO, hoon-joon, looked a lot better in this, showing that he did care for the girls in the end, making him a saint compared to Xion. Keena knew that with ATTRAKT, they cared a lot more about her and the former 50/50 members, with Keena saying that she regrets not confirming the information fed by Xion and talking to ATTRAKT's hoon-joon to see if they were true. She admits that if she did this earlier, she could have found out that Xion was lying much earlier, showing that communication is always important, especially when scandals such as this break out. As for Xion, it's not looking good for him nor the Givers, and with good reason, as he faces either jail time or a huge lawsuit for his many crimes. He was ordered to go to the Gangnam police station, and he's currently under investigation. We'll see how his fate turns out.
So while ATTRAKT is getting stronger from all this, and Xion's getting dragged through the mud, the other party that's getting dragged through the mud are the other 3 members of 50/50. For them, what are they gonna do? The Korean media and netizens totally against them. And in the K-pop industry, blacklisting happens a lot. As a person that's worked in it, has seen that happen, it sucks. It especially happens if you backstab your former boss, ATTRAKT in this case, because Korean culture is really big into loyalty. It's all about giving respect to your elders, paying your dues, and just being appreciative. Especially if you're a rookie group, so they're thinking, oh, you're just spoiled, you had it all, you didn't give appreciation to your CEO, who tried his best and sold many of his material possessions to keep you afloat, and you listened to a scam artist, and you shouldn't have bit the hand that fed you. I don't think it's really the girls' fault entirely because they got gaslit by Xion. I would have said the only thing that the girls shouldn't have done is repeatedly post stuff on social media. That's their fault in my opinion. They should have taken it behind closed doors.
50/50's biggest crime is blindly trusting their greedy producer, Xion, and going all in to try to terminate their contracts with ATTRAKT by fighting and doubling down on ATTRAKT being horrible after the courts ruled in ATTRAKT's favor looks even worse, and to many fans, especially Korean netizens, looks petty. The only thing where the members could have a serious case, if proven true, are the allegations of ATTRAKT not taking the members' medical conditions and illnesses more seriously, and that if the label did indeed force the members to power through said illnesses at music shows or concerts. Yet, as it currently stands, this case is one of the few instances in K-pop where the label looks like the good guys. By getting involved in the scandal and ultimately losing in courts, the 50/50 members lost out on a ton of opportunities, with the biggest one being not doing a music video for the Barbie movie, one of the biggest films in 2023, as the group was slated to originally do so. And the other big missed opportunity was canceling their KCON 2023 appearance. If 50/50 were able to do those opportunities, the group most likely would have won several End of the Year awards and been one of the strongest female groups in 4th gen. The final nail in the coffin is that the group was so successful during their first year, they got rid of their debt, actually making a decent profit through music revenue alone, and making the other 3 girls look even worse, since they were in a strong position, especially coming from a smaller label. So the other 3 girls, if they want to save face, should go back to ATTRAKT and renegotiate the terms of their contract. And to further protect themselves, the girls should put in things in their contract, such as a crystal clear plan, how profits will be distributed in the future, as well as health concerns. Going back to ATTRAKT on good faith, rather than continuing to double down and attack their former company, now on Instagram, looks horrible for the former 3 members, and it doesn't help their case among the Korean public. It poses a good question. Why the other 3 didn't go back to ATTRAKT as soon as they found out that Xion was scamming the entire group as well as their parents. This complicated case would actually make for a good K-pop documentary in the future on, say, Netflix, as it would be interesting to learn everything behind the scenes that led to the breakup of the original 50/50 group.
I do feel bad for the girls because I was a big fan of 50/50 and Cupid and wanted to see how far they could have went, because I've seen a similar girl group, minus the drama, that exploded from nowhere from a small company to great heights, and that would be G-Friend in 2015 under Source Music.
Now make no mistake, this is not the abuse case on the level of Omega X and Luna, where there was so much evidence and testimony of abuse. These are two of the more recent cases that K-pop fans think of when a K-pop abuse scandal comes out. However, with the 50-50 case, the 3 other former members still have grievances against ATTRAKT, as they insist on filing a lawsuit against their former company. Yet many of those allegations still do not have any hard evidence nor testimony. And with Keena rejoining ATTRAKT and supporting what the CEO had to say, the 3 former girls having a successful lawsuit against their former company looks slim. Since the song Cupid is a lot more popular than the group, the former members can't survive off their fame alone. The group didn't have a big established fan base before the scandal, as the scandal killed any momentum of developing a loyal fan base. While Keena is currently trending upwards, the former members are in a downward spiral, who are struggling not just to build a fan base, but to keep afloat within the K-pop industry.
So what can the girls do, I think, is apologize deeply and work their way up from ground up. If you apologize enough in Korean culture and show remorse and say that you're sorry, do some community service on the side, and just keep your head down, you can eventually recover. And that's where Korean culture is a lot different from Western culture, where Western culture is more forgiving and the whole underdog story and hey, people get second chances. Korea is more blunt, and if you mess up, you have to repent. Depending on the crime or the mistake, if they do all that, they might have a comeback story. Because I felt the other 3 girls were victims for the most part. With that being said, the comeback of Keena. Keena's actually making this anime comeback arc because she went to the US to go to a private party prior to the 2023 Billboard Music Awards.
How does it feel?
Oh my gosh, this is so surreal. I can't believe I'm here. I feel so honored and grateful.
And by reading the comments on Korean media sites, a lot of the fans just changed their tune, saying, hey, enjoy yourself, I hope you do well, fighting, and a whole bunch of other positive comments, which is a stark contrast from just a couple months ago when Keena was part of the lawsuit with her other former members and with Xion, and she too was getting her reputation dragged under the mud. To Korean netizens, this represented growth and how Keena knew that she was doing the wrong thing. She repented, apologized to ATTRAKT, and said, hey, I'm sorry I did this. And here's some evidence and text messages I can do to dispel that ATTRAKT is the bad guy in this case. So she owned up to her mistake, she took ownership, and she tried to make things right. And the Koreans, that shows growth, and that shows, okay, this person did their time, they tried to minimize the damage, and she took a beating, but now she's on the right path.
With the apologies out of the way, she furthered her goodwill by donating some of her music royalties, about 10 million won, or about 7,700 USD, to charity. With this money representing her first paycheck since joining 50-50, and she wanted to give the money back in a meaningful way. And her donation also gave Keena a much needed PR boost to her image.
So that's why Keena is actually getting a lot of positive press these days and bouncing back stronger than ever, as right now she's currently the only one part of 50-50.
As ATTRAKT said that 50-50 will rebrand with Keena and 3 new girls, with the label also looking to Japan for new members in January 2024.
The future of New 50-50 is going to be a tough one because whoever Keena teams up with, it's just tough because it feels like they have to start over again. They're going to need another hit song. And to ask for another Cupid is pretty much unrealistic. But I'm wishing the best for Keena and New 50-50, as well as ATTRAKT, and hopefully they'll create some new bangers that make their own identity. So here's hoping to the rise of Keena and the rise of New 50-50.
And perhaps the newly reformed 50-50 can return to happier times, such as this one.
모두 준비되셨나요?
네, 대표님.